I've been moderating the GBC group aiming at learning and exchanging knowledge and experiences concerning the games and ways of integrating them into the classroom for pedagogical purposes. I'm really happy this evening to present you our guest, who despite being a quite young person, he may surprise us with his expertise on the topic. So here we have Mr. Mikael Uusi-Mäkelä. Please, Michael, correct me if I pronounce it in the wrong way. Michael is a learning developer at TeacherGaming LLC at the University of Tampere in Finland. He deals with everything from creating content to training teachers and giving presentations. He has worked in research projects exploring game-based learning both in Finland and internationally. And recently, he's one of the fastest growing game-based learning projects in the world, MinecraftEdu. So now I will give base to our host. Michael, are you ready?
I am, thank you. Really am, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
That's perfect. Awesome. But yeah, thanks so much for the introduction. But yeah, let's get going. My name is Mikael, and you pronounce it perfectly, by the way. That's usually the thing when you're actually in an English-speaking country. No one ever gets your name right. But I guess most of us have had that experience. But yeah, so greetings from Finland, everyone. So yeah, I work for a company called TeacherGaming, and what we do as a company is repurpose entertainment games for education. What that means basically is most of us have a teaching background. Like myself, I'm an English teacher by training, and we try to figure out what kind of games would work in a classroom setting. So that's our company in a nutshell. But a few words about myself, what I do for a living. So I work for the company, but I've been a gamer. Oh, there we go. Let's see if I can make my presentation work. Can you see that presentation? It says only the file owner can play this media file. Any idea, click area, Beatrice?
Yes.
Can you see it only says that I only get a black screen on my presentation. All right, interesting.
We'll try to fix it.
No worries, I'm
actually... Yeah, with the PowerPoint, I guess the things may not work.
No worries. I was just going to say that I've been a gamer for most of my life. There's a couple of childhood pictures of me playing games at the beginning of 90s. So I played games ever since I was like 6 or 7. So gaming has been a big part of my life, not just by work. So yeah, I've been playing games for most of my life. The pictures show me playing them with my family and with my friends. And it actually became something more than just a hobby. I realized at a point that I was learning English pretty fast by playing games. So I remember being around 13 or 14-year-old, and I was taking an English test at school. And I remember I was playing a Diablo game. That's a demon hunting game. You hunt demons, and it's an action game. But I remember I was really sucked into the story of the game. And I remember starting writing parts of the story behind an English test because I finished early. But, you know, needless to say, I was writing stuff about demons on an English test. So that kind of got me into trouble with the teacher and the principal, and people were probably going at it and thinking I'm a Satanist or something for writing stuff about demons. But that was, you know, a motivation for me. The games were motivating me to learn English, to actually understand the story of the game. And that's something I've been playing ever since. By the way, if you have any questions at any point, or you cannot see or hear me well, please let me know in the chat. I'll be trying to keep an eye. But yeah, I kept playing games through high school, all the way to university, where I started becoming an English teacher, and I left games for a while. But when I was training to become a teacher, I realized that I was hoping that maybe I can, you know, I had been learning English from games. So maybe that's something I could use to actually get the games for the next generation as well. So I started figuring out how to use games in education, and that eventually led me to work at the university in a research team. I was working in a Finnish and Americans research group to see how people are actually using games. And it turns out it's been a trend for 10 years already. People have been trying to use games for a long time. And about 3 years ago, I discovered this little game called Minecraft. At the time, Minecraft wasn't really that big. It was a big game already, but it wasn't the phenomenon it's these days. But yeah, I started using it in one of my research projects, and I discovered that there's actually an educational version of the game. And I was really surprised to find that the educational version of the game is actually made here in Finland. So I contacted the guys right away and asked, what kind of stuff are you making? And, trying to figure out if I could work with them. And fast forward a year, I started working for the company as well. So I've been there for a couple of years now. So gaming kind of has been part of my life, and it actually became a hobby, and it became a job after all. But yeah, that's maybe enough about me, but suffice to say, gaming is not something that's really new for myself. Usually, this is the part where I ask you guys how many of you played Minecraft. Can you tell me in the chat if you played Minecraft? Let's see if anyone writes anything in the chat. Probably not too many people have played. Is there anyone who has ever heard of Minecraft? Who has never heard of Minecraft before? Most people probably know about the game. It's such a big phenomenon these days. There are around 70 million people playing the game these days, so it's one of the biggest game titles in the history of games. So it's something of a phenomenon. People said at first that, this is the game Lego should have made. It's almost kind of Lego blocks. We're going to see it in a minute. But it started off as something of digital Lego blocks. So these digital Lego blocks became so big that Lego actually made a Lego set for Minecraft. So there are Minecraft Legos these days. Anyway, let me show you what Minecraft is about. Let me see if I can actually share my screen. Yep, share, and actually I'm going to share whole screen. I'm just going to say find Minecraft from here. Yeah. So can you see my screen? Hopefully. There we go. It's just shared. So this is what Minecraft looks like. Let me turn on the lights. So it's a really blocky game. Everything in the game is made of blocks. All the trees, leaves in the trees, the ground itself, even the flowers are kind of blocky. So it doesn't look really that amazing. But the point of the game is everything in the world can be broken down. Oh, I'm pretty powerful. I'm actually playing as a teacher, so I'm pretty powerful. Let me switch it up. So everything in the game can be broken down. I'm breaking down some dirt and grass here. There we go. I'm collecting some dirt blocks. And everything can be reassembled as well. So I can place the blocks back here. So it's a bit like Legos. And I can break the wood as well. There's going to be some strange physics. The tree is not going to fall even though I'm chopping up some blocks from beneath it. So don't try to teach physics right away. So I could break the wood blocks. And the name of the game was Minecraft. So I'm mining resources in the game, but I can also craft resources. I just collected some oak wood, and if I'm crafting the oak wood, I can turn it into oak wood planks. So I can refine materials in the game to different things. And I can combine them to make new things in the game. And the funny thing is that no one in the game, there is no tutorial, there are no quests, there are no princesses to save. Nothing in the game is telling me how to play the game, what to do next. So everything in the game relies on self-directed discovery. So when you're playing yourself, it's up to you what you do next. So what I did, I collected some wood, and I made a crafting table. And what a crafting table lets me do is combine even more materials. Let's see what happens. I got some oak wood. I can turn them into more planks. And now that I have planks, I can make sticks. And now that I have sticks, I can make tools. I have a pickaxe now, so I'm going to be really fast at digging stuff. So this is the basics of the game. You're actually usually playing with someone else. It's not just usually you yourself playing alone in the world, but there are other people. So you can make some pretty spectacular stuff in the game. It doesn't just have to be making wooden tools. It can be other stuff. Let me show you. I'm actually going to fly. So teachers, we have some special powers in the game. We can fly around, for example, and we can also we can really be really fast and invisible. That's our sales pitch for schools, empowering teachers. But there we go. That's something my colleague built. This is a tutorial world where you can learn how to play Minecraft. But yeah, you can build some pretty magnificent stuff in the game. I'm not going to go too deep here. But that's the basic idea of the game. Collecting resources, playing with your friends, and being creative. So nothing's forced upon you. There are no quests or there's no dragons to say. Everything is up to you. What do you want to do in the game next? So now that's the basic idea of the game. This is a really blocky game. So the next question is really, why should we as teachers be concerned? Or, you know, why should we even be interested? I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Let's see. There we go. Jumping back to the show. Let's see if we still have. Yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. So this is the next question is, why should we be concerned about Minecraft in education in any way? So Minecraft itself, it's such a huge phenomenon that alone should make us interested. When TV came along or videos came along, I think most of the schools were kind of freaked out. Why should we be using videos, or why should we be using TV? Is it just going to replace teachers, right? That's the kind of questions people were asking. And I think it's pretty much the same thing with games. There's a study about how Finnish youth spends their time. More than 80% of Finnish teenagers spend more than 6 hours playing games each week. So 6 hours of their time, so that's around 1 hour every day, is spent in games. So it's an environment where they choose to spend their spare time. So that alone should be enough for us as teachers to be interested in what happens in the games. But the cool thing about the game is, as well, is that so like someone said in the chat, that playing Minecraft itself develops a lot of different competencies. It develops a lot of skills you do. So doing very basic stuff in the game, like building something with your friend, placing those simple Lego blocks. It requires a lot of stuff to happen. So if you're building with someone else, I'm actually going to jump forward a bit. So if you're building with someone else, I'm going to take an example that should be familiar for most of us. So pyramids. If you're building pyramids in Minecraft, and this loosely links to history, if you're building pyramids in Minecraft with someone else, there's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, I'm getting feedback with my voice. So if someone has their microphone on, could you mute it, please? Unless you have something to say, that's fine as well. Thanks. Anyway, so this is how someone built a pyramid in Minecraft. On the surface level, it looks pretty simple, right? You're just laying stone blocks on top of each other. But if you consider what kind of skills or what kind of stuff, what kind of difficulties people had when they actually built the pyramids in real life, it took decades. It took thousands or tens of thousands of skilled workers and laborers to make these magnificent things happen. Fortunately, it's not going to take decades to build a pyramid in Minecraft, but it is going to take a while. When you're building this with a group of friends, you need to decide who's going to be collecting the resources. Do you have any kind of blueprints? Who's going to be designing the building? Where are you going to build it? And when you run into trouble, someone is not, pulling their weight in your team, what are you going to be doing with them? So there's a lot of stuff going on here. And I didn't even go to maths or geometry. How many blocks are you going to need? What are the angles going to be like? So there's a lot of stuff when you build something as simple as the pyramids here. I think most of you are familiar with 21st century skills or 4 C's of learning. So communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. So these are the kind of skills that scholars and most teachers think that we're going to need in this new millennium, although it's 15 years into the new millennium, so I'm not sure if these are brand new thing for anyone. So if you think about the communication skills that you'll need to build something as the pyramids, it takes a lot of communication just to get the thing in the right place. It takes a lot of stuff to get you organized in the game. And I'm not talking about communication inside the game alone. Most of the time, people use Minecraft. It's used in a classroom where everyone is in the same space. So students are in the same space. They're actually talking in the classroom. Everyone's actually focused on the collaboration aspects of the game. I think people actually fear that when we bring games to the classroom, everyone is going to sit with their nose glued to the screen. So they're just staring at their own screens, playing quietly. I think the opposite is actually true. When kids are playing, it's not just Minecraft, but when kids are playing games, they are really active. It's something of a social event for them. When they're playing games, they're talking with each other. They are actually collaborating, like the next bubble says. Collaboration skills are very natural in the game. There are some competitive elements you could, if you allowed it as a teacher, you can go and hit other kids in the game, but we usually have that disabled when we use the game in the classroom. But most of it is collaborative, because making something like the pyramid is going to take a long time in the game. It makes more sense when you're building with someone else. And not to mention the creativity in the game. It takes a lot of creativity to build just about anything in the game. I'm really poor at drawing stuff. I'm a left-handed person, and even my stick figures, they look kind of disfigured. So Minecraft, with its blocks, has been something of a blessing for me. I can actually be creative. I can actually build a house, and it looks just as decent as the next person's. People are making some pretty creative stuff. They have made replicas of real-world buildings. You can find the Eiffel Tower. You can find all kinds of stuff. You can find all kinds of stuff in the game that people have recreated. But it doesn't have to be something that you copy from the real world. It can be something totally else. I actually do see your questions. I'm not a classroom teacher at the moment myself. And it depends a lot on how much time you actually spend on the game. I think one of the most natural ways that you can use the game is in project-based learning. So when you have, I actually see the questions, yeah. When you have a project where you can allocate time for it, I wouldn't go ditching your books. I wouldn't go ditching your books, but I would try to find natural fits for Minecraft. It doesn't have to be something that replaces reading with books or teaching with a PowerPoint. Those are great tools, but sometimes it makes a lot of sense to use games like Minecraft. But yeah, we can talk about that in a minute more. And one last C I have left on my quadrant thing here is critical thinking. Critical thinking skills or problem-solving skills. Those are at the core of playing any kind of game. Games pose you challenges. Games are meant to be hard. But the good thing about games is that people are not usually getting frustrated when they're playing games. I'm sure many of you have played Angry Birds or some other similar games. And I bet all of you have failed in Angry Birds. You didn't pass, you didn't shoot down all the pigs, or you didn't get enough points. And failure is really big part of games, and that's something games have to offer for classrooms. So I'm sure every one of us knows that kids are afraid to fail in classrooms. It doesn't feel good when you're failing, or you raise your hand and then you make a mistake. That's you're putting yourself out on a limb there when you raise your hand. You're taking a chance, but when you fail, it feels miserable. But in games, failing is a natural part of the gameplay. Everyone expects you to fail. And when you fail, you just, you rise up and you try again. The kind of resilience that games build, that's pretty spectacular from my point of view. All right, that's kind of a theoretical framework of why we should be, what kind of stuff you learn from Minecraft. And the good thing here is most of this stuff, this is present in regular Minecraft. When your kids play at home, when they play with someone else, they are going to be using all of these skills, even without a teacher. But obviously, as teachers, we need to be focused on what kind of stuff we can do in schools. This is actually a slide I borrowed from my colleague. This is the list of stuff that games are supposed to be teaching you. They motivate you, they teach you English, they improve your reaction speed or your hand-eye coordination, and all of these things are nice. But the thing is, we usually don't have a subject where we can practice our reaction speed or our hand-eye coordination. We actually need to be concerned of how we can integrate games into our subject matter on our everyday lives in schools. And that's one of the bigger challenges with Minecraft. So us as teachers, when we design how to use games in games like Minecraft or any other game in classroom, we need to design how it aligns with our content. If we're teaching history, how do we learn the history in Minecraft? If we're doing quantum physics, how do we do quantum physics in Minecraft? And that's one of the biggest hurdles we have. This is a picture, this is totally framed. This is actually a world I made. But the point here, this is what many people's first instinct is. So obviously the point here in the picture is that the student needs to solve the equation. So what's 2 times 5? That's a pretty simple thing. The students should go in and put 1 and 0 to make, 2 times 5 equals 10. But how much room for critical thinking, collaboration, or creativity, or any kind of stuff I talked about earlier? How much critical thinking does it take to solve this problem in Minecraft? Not too much. So all of the stuff we had previously, all of these things, we can make these disappear in a flick of an eye. So this is the risk we run when we're trying to design learning in Minecraft. So if we do stuff like this, I'm sure the kids will be motivated for the first, maybe a lesson, maybe 2 lessons. But this is the stuff that you actually can do on a notebook. There's nothing, Minecraft doesn't add any value to doing stuff like this. If I were trying to be smart and wanted to teach multiplication or maths in the game, I would try to do it in a Minecrafty way. So how many blocks do you need to build a house with these dimensions? And that's how you get to your multiplication or your volumes. So how does the learning content fit naturally in the game? So stuff like the pyramids, that's kind of simple. You can study your pyramids in your book. You can go on and watch some videos, maybe a movie even if you want to. And then when you actually want your students to show that they can apply the knowledge or show the retention of the content, you can send them to Minecraft and ask them to show it to you. I understand how pyramids were built. I understood something about the burial ceremonies of the ancient Egypt. But yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm afraid of when we're trying to integrate subject matter. But yeah, that's just a bad example of how we do it. So I think one of the bigger questions we should be asking the students, we should be asking ourselves, why should the students be interested in learning the skills or the information? And this is, this goes for everything. This doesn't have to do anything with games. As a language teacher, I need to be showing my students, why should I be interested in learning English? When I was a student, a big thing was to learn how to play games or understand what games said, or understanding a song, lyrics of a song, those kind of stuff, showing that this is actually connected to your life. And these days, games are a really big part of students' life. So if you can show that learning a skill can be useful in Minecraft, you're actually pretty far along already. So as an English teacher, for example, I can teach the Finnish kids to play in an English-speaking server. If you can communicate in English, there's a much wider audience you can play with. Or if it's a French thing, French server, you need to learn French. But yeah, showing that why do I need to learn certain skills? And anyway, when we're using Minecraft, we are using a medium. Games don't have to be content only. Like, games are much broader than the content they display. So Minecraft is just one game. Games as a medium is something that's very inherent to the student generation that we have in schools right now. So understanding the games are a medium where students can express themselves or where they spend a lot of time, that's one of the key concepts. I'm actually going to jump over the examples. I'm going to come back here in just a minute. I'm going to talk a few minutes about learning games, or learning from games. Here's a Google image search from when I search for digital games. You can see a lot of very diverse games. You can see there's your very classic. You have some board games that have been transferred to digital ones. There are some city building games. There are some console games, I think. There's a Pokemon game right there. Some card games, Super Mario. So it's a very, very broad spectrum of games that goes under digital games. So what about when I look for learning games? So this is a picture that comes up when I look for learning games. It's a very colorful bunch, but it's very simple as well. Where with the last picture, we saw a very broad spectrum of games. Now we have a very narrow look of games. So most of these rely on very rote memorization. You are repeating alphabets or learning a multiplication or additions, or you're learning colors. And I'm not trying to criticize these type of games. These games probably are really good at what they're trying to achieve. My biggest qualm with these kind of games, or not with these kind of games, with learning games in general, is that they don't aim very high. Someone said that, Plegaria said in the chat that she doesn't think that students really care about the simple games. I guess some people, maybe younger students, probably care about these kind of games. Maybe they do. I don't know. My biggest qualm is that they don't really. The biggest problem why students they don't like these kind of games. Biggest reason kids don't like these kind of games that these are not even close to the games they play at home, the ones I had in previous picture. So there's a very big gap between real games and learning games. And by the way, someone just pasted a very, very good game in the chat, so please do check it out. Gone Home is actual game. So it's not just a learning game. It's really good. And it's not too expensive either, if I'm correct. So yeah, I wish learning games actually used the potential that games have better. So few words about, I've been talking about games here quite a bit. So games are just a tool that we can use as teachers. Games are something that our students can use themselves. But how does it fit when we're talking about teachers? So how does Minecraft, or how does teaching fit in the age of Minecraft? Many people like when videos came along, or TV came along, or I bet when radio came along as well. People were asking, is there going to be a role for teachers? Kids can just, watch videos and learn from them. And obviously, we know that's not true. you are going to be facilitating the use. Games are going to be your content. They're going to be tools that you can use to engage your students or give your students a platform where they can show their skills or what they have learned. So there's just going to be a role for the teacher. But I'm going to argue, like someone pointed out in the chat, that it's going to be more guide by the side kind of role. So teachers are no longer, I don't think teachers aren't in fact any longer, the sages on the stage, the ones who hold all the information. So now that everyone has all the information in the world at the tips of their fingers with smartphones or Wikipedia or whatever, teachers' role is going to be transferring more to facilitating the learning. And the cool thing about games like Minecraft or Second Life or any kind of virtual world is that it gives a lot of time for you as a teacher. Many times when we talk about games and motivation, people think that this is just another trick for us, how we can get the students' attention when we're competing with smartphones or games or apps. Now, I think games they're going to be a platform. Students can be spending time in the platform, building a project or something like that. It gives us a lot of time as a teacher to spend with the students in the classroom, because we don't have to be talking in the front. We can actually spend a lot of time seeing how they're working, what kind of mistakes they are making, and giving a more personalized learning experience. It's going to be a different role, but nonetheless, it's going to be an awesome role for teachers. And one core thing that we have noticed, we have been working with Minecraft in schools. We can really, really good point in the chat. We can actually observe the learning process. That's a really good point. So one thing we have been seeing through the 5 years we have been doing this right now, or 4 years or so, is that obviously, now that Minecraft is as big as it is, students are going to be really good at the game. I play Minecraft, or I work with Minecraft for a living, so I'm pretty good at Minecraft. But kids, there's always going to be a kid who is going to be better at the game than I ever will be when I'm playing it in a classroom. So that's the biggest hurdle we have had when having Minecraft in classrooms. We are actually going to have to trust the students a lot, because they are going to be better at the games, and obviously not many teachers have played Minecraft. But the thing is, teachers still have a lot of stuff to give to the gameplay. So when you consider a project like building the pyramids, although the students have all of the technical skills to build the pyramids, I will bet you anything that if you place a group of 20 students in a world of Minecraft and ask them to build the pyramids, you will not have a ready-made pyramid in an hour or 2 hours or ever. You're going to have 5 different false starts. You're going to have 2 kids strangling each other when they're fighting over something, because kids don't know usually that well how to organize a work of 20 people. They don't know how to solve the fights when something like that comes up, or disputes. That's something you are really good at as teachers. You have been solving problems as teachers for a very long time. And it's going to be a trade-off. You are going to give some of your autonomy off as a teacher. Students are going to be really good. They are going to have an input in the game. But on the other hand, you can enrich the learning experience and the gaming experience for them a lot. So maybe this is a naive way of saying it, but maybe a democratic classroom. Maybe it's going to be a more democratic with games. And one interesting thing I wanted to talk about. Has anyone heard of the term griefing? I don't know, maybe. Griefing is basically a term for, it's a business term as well. Oh, nice. So griefing is actually a term for basically cyberbullying in the game. When someone bullies you in the game, that's what we call it. It's griefing, causing grief, basically. And one of the biggest things, because we make the educational version of the game, people ask us all the time, Can we prevent students from griefing? Can we prevent cyberbullying in the game? Technically, yeah, we could do it, but for the last 4 years, our adamant response has been that, no, we don't want to stop griefing in the game. These kids are just going to go home and blow each other up in the game. They're going to be behaving badly in the game. No, that's a really good opportunity for us as teachers to take a stand against cyberbullying and actually face it in your classroom. I bet, nice, there you go, someone got the definition. So we are giving you tools as teachers to deal with griefing or cyberbullying. Instead of burying our heads in the sand or facing away from the problem and pretending it doesn't exist, we are going to give you tools to deal with it. So when something like someone blows up your house or destroys something or hits you in the game, we are not just going to say that it didn't happen. We have tools for teachers that let you stop the students. They can't move in the game, and then you can just have the chat. Have the chat in the game. How did it feel when someone broke your house? How did it feel when someone destroyed something that you spent hours building? So yeah, it's a really good opportunity for us as teachers to actually teach digital citizenship skills. So yeah, so that's a kind of ideological stand that we have taken as a company, that yeah, we want teachers to actually deal with these problems. Because you have dealt with these before. You know how kids fight during the recess or the break. You know how they fight. You know how to break those fights as well. So I think you already have all the necessary skills to deal with the problem. We are just giving you the digital tools to do it in Minecraft as well. And hopefully, when the kids go home, these skills will transfer there as well, and there be better digital citizens in the future. All right. I think I'm going to jump back to my my examples about Minecraft. So I've been talking about Minecraft, and all of the stuff I have been talking about basically applies to many other games as well. And I have been trying to, obviously I work for a company and it's a commercial thing we do. We try to make a living, so I haven't been talking too much about MinecraftEdu or something else. But I'm going to give you a quick few examples of what people have been doing in MinecraftEdu. I'm actually going to start sharing my screen again. Let's jump back to Minecraft. So one of the biggest things for us when we have been developing MinecraftEdu, the educational version of the game, one of the biggest things for us is we don't want to change the experience too much for the students. We are kind of afraid that if we make MinecraftEdu into a school-like version of the game, that's going to frighten or that's going to turn off so many students, because kids are going to pick it up from miles away. They will know that you are now playing school Minecraft. It's not as fun. It's something very different from the one I'm playing at home. So that's our key design goal with Minecraft, trying to keep Minecraft as a cool game that it is. But yeah, I think we've actually succeeded pretty well. MinecraftEdu is now used in around 10,000 schools around the world. This year, Northern Ireland in the UK adopted MinecraftEdu to all of their post-primary schools. So all of the secondary schools, vocational schools, training centers are now using Minecraft in their studies in Northern Ireland. But yeah, it's spreading pretty quickly, so we are doing pretty well. And I guess one of the reasons is that we actually managed to keep Minecraft as Minecraft, and it doesn't stink like school. So what have we done with the game? So it's not just regular Minecraft. One of the biggest things we have done is making it easier for teachers to use the game. So as I said, it's a multiplayer game. My world here is pretty empty. There aren't any students that I could showcase to you guys. But you can find plenty of videos online about people using the game in their classrooms. So most of the things or the features we have developed for the game, they deal with making the game work for a large student, for a large number of students. So how does it work? So starting a server or a virtual server isn't usually something you can do as a teacher. That's something we focused on. So it takes now less than 2 mouse clicks to have a world like this running for the entire class. So students could easily join in and start playing with us. There is some pre-made content like this. There are worlds that are going to teach you, both you and your students, how to play the game. This is a very basic place. It tells you to press W to move forward or use the mouse to look around. Different things. There's actually a teacher's lounge here that will showcase what kind of stuff teachers have been doing, what kind of stuff teachers can do. Someone was asking in the chat, I can see a very small window about the chat. Someone was asking how much is MinecraftEdu. It's around half the price of regular Minecraft, plus it's not tied to a single user. It's based on a licensing model. I can give you links later on if you want, but it's much cheaper than regular Minecraft. I try to avoid making this into a sales pitch for MinecraftEdu. But anyway, most of the tools in the game are aimed at teachers. We have a teacher menu that lets you control what kind of stuff you can have in the game. Do you want monsters in your game? Can you have fire and TNT? Fire and TNT is not probably your first lesson kind of stuff, so I suggest you leave that unticked. You can also change what kind of game mode you're playing in, what time of day it is. As you can see, it's now nighttime that I changed it. Other animals. Sometimes it makes sense to have animals. If you're talking about hunter-gatherers in history, you might want to have animals that you can hunt. But sometimes if you're trying to build pyramids, they're just going to be a distraction, so you can turn them on and off. You can also control what happens with the players. I'm actually just going to paste a quick link in case someone wants to do in the chat. There we go. There we go. There's a link for you guys if you want to. Oh, sorry, that was private. Let's talk to everyone. Sorry, MinecraftEdu.com. There we go. There's a link to our website if you want to be looking at the same time. Anyway, back to the game. So you can control player settings. You can enable or disable player versus player combat. Can they be hitting each other? You can mute the students. You can stop the students for a while. These are our 2 fan favorite buttons. They let you control whether the students can move and speak in the world. So, as you know, if you have children or you have seen people, oh, sorry, my screen froze when I was using the chat at the same time. There we go. That's better. So if you have seen students play the game, or if you have children playing the game, it's really tedious sometimes to get their attention. You can imagine 20 kids are really enthusiastic about the game and they're playing, everyone's excited. It's really hard to get their attention when you actually want to speak with them. So that's why we have freeze students and mute students buttons, so we can actually get their attention for a while. So it's not meant to be as a punishment in the game, it's meant for us as a tool to get their attention for a short while, right? We could also manage players individually. I don't have any students to manage, but we could give them permission. We can promote them to kind of be assistant teachers, help us with building, give them some responsibility over what happens in the game. If we don't want our students to spend all of the time gathering for resources, I can give out materials here. So here's 64 stone blocks. Go and build something. You can also give out assignments, and students can report when they completed it. Because a lot of the projects we do, like bigger projects like building a pyramid, it takes a lot of time, and scaffolding and breaking it down in smaller categories makes a lot of sense. So you can do different assignments here to control what kind of stuff students do. You can also do different stuff that lets you build stuff quickly in the game if you want to, but these are usually not something you start with your first few lessons. But anyway, those are tools that try to make it easier to use the game in the classroom, right? So I promised I would give you some examples of how Minecraft has been used before we break today. I've been using 45 minutes, so I'm going to use the last 15 minutes or so talking about the different examples of what people have used Minecraft with. First thing I'm going to do is talk about programming. I think around 15 European countries are now implementing some kind of programming curriculum in their lives, right? In their schools, and maybe 10 more are planning to do it. So we have been trying to figure out for the last couple of years whether we could do programming in Minecraft as well. So this is what we came up with. So there are many places where you can learn how to program with Minecraft online. There are small mini games that teach you how to do programming, like Hour of Code, really good ones. But we actually wanted to show how programming works in Minecraft. So that's why we have these blocky robot guys here. The green guy in the middle of the screen is my robot. It has eyes in the middle, in the front, and it has a backpack on its back. And we can control these guys. We can use a remote control to make them move around in the game. We can make them dig, we can make them build, and we can customize them to make them our own. There we go. You can give them funny trinkets to make them look different. Give this one a crown. There we go. But what we have here is like if you ever use Scratch or Logo, there's a kind of visual programming environment where you can make small programs that your robots can do inside the game. There's going to be a small dancer robot. Let's see what happens. And the point of all of this is that we can make our robots useful in the game, that we can show our students that programming can be a really useful skill when you're playing Minecraft. So for many students, if you're telling that, oh yes, programming is going to be really important 20 years from now when you're working in an office, that's not going to cut it. So instead, we are telling, what about we teach you how to program in Minecraft, and you can go back home and directly apply that skill. Right now, it took me 5 seconds, and I have a robot here that's going to be building me stairs so I can escape the labyrinth here. He could be digging for diamonds, or he could be digging for resources for me. He could be building something much bigger. You can have programming logic here, so I can make him repeat those stairs. You can do different kinds of things here. So yeah, you can do it's a proper small programming language that you can use inside the game and show how the skills are useful inside of Minecraft. And if you want to jump to the deep end, you can actually see the programming language behind it. You can jump between the visual language and the text-based language here. So that's one way of, showing how a skill that we are trying to teach in school, how it's useful inside a game, or why your students should be interested. I'm sure many kids will be interested in programming as such, because programming is kind of cool. But not everyone's going to be interested in programming. So hopefully, maybe we have some people who are interested in Minecraft, but with programming, we could show them that it's actually a useful skill. All right, other stuff that we could do. I'm going to share a different screen. Give me a minute. There we go. So hopefully, 2 applications. Let me stop this one first. Stop sharing first. Here we go. I'm going to share an application. There we go. Google Chrome and share. So hopefully you guys are now seeing something. Yeah, Turtle Island. There we go. So this is our website. You probably ended up there with through the link. There's all kind of good resources. Here's the resource page that can take you to our teacher forums. We have around 3,000 teachers in the discussion forum. That's a really good place. There's a wiki. You can come and have a chat with us. But there's a World Library. The World Library is something I want to show you guys. So World Library is a community hub for us. So as I said, we have around 10,000 schools who use the game. And many of the schools have good practices. They have seen what works, what doesn't. And World Library is where they can share the worlds they have created, the lessons they have created. So if you head to MinecraftEdu.com and the resources page, you will find the same place if you're going to take a look yourself. But you can look for maps here based on a subject, on an age range, or what kind of world you want to be playing in. So I have a couple of different ones I wanted to showcase. Volcano Town here is a really good example in my opinion. So Volcano Town starts, you have a simple town in Minecraft, and the students come in and settle in and maybe select their houses, start decorating. And then what you can do as a teacher, you can make the volcanoes on two sides of the town erupt. And the students need to deal with the natural disaster. They have to coordinate their efforts. They need to actually, start putting out the fires, maybe building walls. And it's a really good experience for many students. So it can be geography. It can be just, social studies. How do people deal with these kind of situations? Is it every man for himself? Or are you actually going to collaborate? Some people have a Dundee waterfront. So someone replicated the waterfront from Dundee. And if you think about this kind of stuff, that you actually have a real-world location inside the game. Maybe you have your own neighborhood. Maybe you have your own school. There's a lot of digital citizenship stuff going around here. So if your students have the schools in the game, what can they do? How would they improve it? You're actually empowering your students to express themselves in a new language, kind of. So if you were doing city planning, you'd actually take into account your primary school students' opinions. Next one was a programming theme. We actually touched on the programming, so I'm going to go there. Someone's doing literature. So Swiss Family Robinson is a novel. So someone made the world of the book into the game, and you can explore it. They have a learning guide where I think you have to go and interview the characters, and you can learn lots of stuff about the book itself, or just role play the book if you wanted to. There's a Viking world for doing history in the game, so exploring a Viking culture or a Viking village here and see how Vikings made their living raiding or farming, different kinds of stuff. So giving an environment for the students where they can see how the stuff they have been learning from books, how they can actually apply it. Some way fair trade rainforest farm. So that's where you learn the principles of fair trade inside the game. Some of these paleontology, so you dig for skeletons, you learn about history, that kind of stuff. I'm just going to giving you an idea what kind of subject matter you can integrate into the game. And Hungercraft, I was going to touch on this really fast. I think many of you are familiar with the Hunger Games books. The last one just came out. The movie version of the last one just came out. So someone recreated the Hunger Games setting in Minecraft. And the idea is, the basic premise of Hunger Games, the books, is that you have a really wealthy portion of the society who live in a place called capital. And then you have poor people who are actually supplying materials to the capital, living in the districts around the capital. So what Hungercraft in Minecraft does is it places half of your students as the privileged people living in the capital, and half of them as the poor people who live in the districts, and explore how it affects the game mechanics if half of the people have all the possible tools in the world and half of them have nothing. And it's going to make a really imbalanced game scenario. But that's kind of the point. You can easily have the discussion after the game, how would you think that works in a real-life situation? And most of these maps in the World Library, they have some kind of lesson plan or some resources to go with them. They might have comments from other people who have used them. But yeah, feel free to explore them at your own leisure. I'm not going to go there, but the last one was an animal cell. Someone recreated a really huge animal cell that you could tour in the game. You could go inside the animal cell or the genome of an animal cell and see how genome and the DNA stuff here. You can go in and see the bigger versions of the cell. And you can actually go, and there are YouTube videos that you can open from inside the game, so it's very transmedia experience. But basically, when people ask what kind of stuff can you teach with Minecraft or any other sandbox game, it's technically mostly everything. It's up to your imagination. A very good way of doing this is you're teaching something and you can ask your students if they play Minecraft and ask, how could you showcase me? How can you demonstrate that you have learned this thing in Minecraft? And the things they come up with, they are pretty amazing sometimes. Stuff I never expected. Someone was telling me that they are now teaching, they are doing mock trials. They are learning about how justice system works. They're doing mock trials in Minecraft. So you have the judge and the jury and different kinds of things. Anyway, you can basically teach anything with the game. It's more of a platform, not the content. So with MinecraftEdu, the game we make, we don't actually ship too much content. You get the tutorial world that will teach you and the students the basics, how the game works. But it doesn't come with ready-made curriculum, so play this map and learn subtraction. Play this map and learn about the pyramids. No, we want to keep the game as a platform for learning. So we want you guys and your students to actually create stuff in the game. And we have, to get you started, there is the World Library. There are really good different resources with ideas how to start with the game. But I'm going to jump back to my presentation for one last time. Where were we? We were talking about the teaching. There we go. And griefing. So learning in Minecraft. A couple of trying to conclude my presentation here. So right now, this was really provocative title for. I was giving the same or part of the same presentation in Russia, and they wanted a really shocking endpoint for the presentation. So schools kind of give learning a bad name right now. Back here in Finland, unfortunately, students they don't like schools right now very much. They are not, they don't find schools meaningful right now. They feel there's a big disconnect with what their regular lives, their everyday lives and school right now. But I don't think it's the school's fault, entirely at least. Teachers are still really good at making giving really good experiences. And it's not about the tools either. It's about the classroom culture that needs to change, both in the student's head and both in the teacher's head. And games are something that can help us with it. And part of that is that we as teachers, we need to realize that games are no longer just games. They are not, picking up a game is not like picking up a book. It's not just passive content you are consuming. Instead, games are a medium that works, whether, the 2000s, the 21st century generation, they can express themselves in the games, and that many of them do. They post YouTube videos, they have blogs, they Snapchat it, or whatever the kids are using these days. And, finally, I don't think games or gamification or app is going to revolutionize gaming or revolutionize education in any way. No. Games are not going to be the change. Games are going to be a tool for change. If you want to change anything in the school system, that's going to come from students, your teachers, your principals. It's the people who actually change what happens in the schools. But the good thing about games, as I said earlier, they can make for a really democratic space. They can change. They can be a catalyst for changing the classroom towards the classroom culture to a more democratic community. Anyway, I'm almost done with my hour. I'm spot on, and I just wanted to say a really big thank you for you guys to staying with me and listening to all of my rants here. And here are my contact details. You can find them on teachergaming.com. You can reach me on Twitter if you want to. And I'm actually going to ask Lucaria, can we share the presentation, or can we share this stuff, or do we have a recording of this? I'm not sure.
Yes, there will be a recording. I'm going to post it in our group. Before we go on, I would like to say personally that I'm amazing, but by all the things I heard tonight, Obviously, video games aren't just fun. They can be a powerful vehicle for learning as well. And video games are undoubtedly one of the fastest trending topics in media, education, and technology. The fact is that our audience has some questions to pose to you.
That's really good. That was my next point, so go ahead. Come on and ask.
Okay. Anybody who would like to pose a question, if you want to write it down, and our guest is going to read it and answer to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Until they write something, I have noted down that Barbara's question was the first one I noticed. She was asking about how much time do you spend on it per week?
Right, I think it depends a lot. I was kind of saying at the point that I think the most natural fit for Minecraft is projects. I wouldn't go spending a day for Minecraft. It's going to be a lot of time to spend on Minecraft. But, you know, maybe when you conclude, maybe if you spend 5 hours studying a topic, let's say the pyramids, because I use the pyramids as an example. So if you spend 5 hours discovering about the pyramids, maybe I would spend the last 2, maybe the last 1 inside the game. That's my favorite way of going about it. So you learn about it with the traditional means, because those are really good. You maybe read a chapter, maybe you watch a video, and then when you actually have learned about the content, you go to Minecraft and use it as an environment where you showcase that you have learned about it. You apply the skills and the knowledge. So maybe 1/5 of a topic depends a lot. If you have an after-school program, you can spend a lot more time, obviously. If it's just your precious lessons, because I know there's a lot of stuff to go through, maybe 1/5, maybe 1/6 of the time, when it makes sense. I don't want to give a quota that you have to spend too much time on it, but when it makes sense. I guess that's my answer.
Okay, okay. Has anybody else have to ask someone something to pose to ask Mikael?
If you don't, you can reach me on Twitter, and if you go to our website, there's my email address as well. So please do shoot me an email or tweet me. I'm happy to talk with those. There's also that's also the same tag works on Skype. So if you want to reach out to me on Skype, I'm really happy to have a chat with any of you guys.
Okay.
Oh, someone was telling about their projects they have been doing. So I used it with my students and asked them to build their dream house and present it in a video. That's a really good way, because if you think about how many skills go on to making that project, I think a lot. There's going to be a lot, even if you're playing alone. When you're making the video, you're designing the video, you're probably writing a script for yourself. You're probably have to have a couple of times listening to yourself speak. I think that's a really good way of using it. But yeah, there are really good ESL or foreign language resources available as well. There's a good YouTube series. I'm quickly going to get it for you guys. I can paste it on the chat. There we go. Where are we in Spanish?
Any more questions? Feel free to write any questions you have.
No, my elusive. There we go. I'm still looking for my YouTube playlist, but I can post it later if you guys want to. There we go. I found the list. There we go. That's the user and then the playlist. Here we go. Minecraft for second language teachers. That's good. There's a link right about now in your chat if you want to have a look. That's for language teachers if there are any among you.
Okay, this is going to be very useful.
PowerPoint and recording, yeah. So I guess you guys are going to be doing that. I already sent you my presentation, so you can probably share those. I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
There will be the recording, and of course we can have the PPT too.
If you want to, I'm happy to give it away. So yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
I guess we're done.
You were very clear, I suppose, and very informative as well.
I hope so.
And I would like to remind everybody that they might navigate the pages, find anything they interest, and share things that they could be useful to others. And one more question. Somebody had asked about the MinecraftEdu, if it is free or not.
All right, yeah, sorry about that. That's going to be me in advertising mode for mine. So yeah, MinecraftEdu is, so it's a commercial product, just like regular Minecraft, but it's made for schools and it's a lot cheaper for schools. So it's around 14 to 18 US dollars, so around 15 euros per license. And you are going to need one license for each simultaneous users. So if you have, let's say you have 20 user licenses, you can have any 20 students playing on any 20 computers in your school. So it really is quite inexpensive. So maybe it's around 350 euros for a classroom set that is permanently yours. It covers one computer lab. So not too much. And it includes all the content I showed you. That's free of charge.
Yeah, the content was really impressive, especially when we saw that you have found a way to get involved several subjects. I was impressed by the fact that you involved literature and history, and I was also impressed by the hanger craft you presented.
Yes, I love it. That's a really cool one. It's actually made in collaboration with a library. So there's a lot of different aspects, and there are a lot of different parties who are really interested in doing this kind of stuff. We have been contacted by there's a British wildlife society who just created We Are the Rangers thing, where you can explore endangered species on a savanna. So Minecraft is becoming it's more a platform than it's a game. So people are not using it like, it was intended. So people, when the Swedish guys made the game, I'm sure they were not designing a platform that you can use for teaching quantum physics or teaching about endangered wildlife. So it has become more than just a game. Yeah,
it is what you said, a platform where the teacher manages everything, and he decides what he wants to present or what he wants his students to learn. That's what I got. Yes.
Yeah, there's a big role for teacher, definitely, but it's at the same time, students are going to have a big part in it as well. So one of the biggest things for me was realizing that kids know a lot about the game. They love them a lot more than I ever will. So coming in terms with that and actually starting to use their expertise and asking them for input, designing the lessons with them. That's one of the big things as well. But yeah, it's a bit jump to the deep end of the pool, I guess.
Okay. I don't know if you have any more questions.
I'm answering to some private messages in the chat still, but
okay.
But if that's if you have any other questions, please do tweet me or Skype me or find my email on the. I didn't want to put the email on the PowerPoint in case it gets shared, so I don't have tons of spam. But I'm happy to talk with any of you guys. So you can head to our website TeacherGaming.com or MinecraftEdu.com. You can find my contact details there as well.
Okay, I'm sure they will do. I'm sure I will do.
Lovely.
Okay, if you don't have any questions, I feel like to say right now that I'm really grateful to our guests I have learned a lot, and thank you all for attending, and wish you a very good night and relaxing night. Thank you, Mikael. I'm very happy to meet you, and I'm really happy for your precious presence here.
All right. Thanks so much for having me, guys. Have a lovely evening, everyone.
Thank you. We will stay tuned for our next meeting.
All right.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody.